Spider-Man has one of the best rogues galleries in comics hands down, but which villains have been adapted best to live action? Which Spider-Man movie baddies are people's favorites?
Let me guess.
Is Mysterio over Green Goblin? Well, the answer may surprise you, and I don't honestly know if I agree with this list, but here are the 10 most popular Spider-Man movie villains according to Ranker. The people have spoken. Let's get started. In my opinion, Vulture at number 10 is way too low. Michael Keaton brought such a ferociousness to Adrian Toomes, and the scene where he's driving Peter and Liz to the dance is one of the best Spider-Man villain scenes ever. But alas, the people like what they like. Why isn't Vulture higher? Is it because the Morbius post-credit scene ruins a lot of Vulture goodwill? Who knows? Rhino at number 9 over Adrian Toomes is criminal, but maybe sometimes camp wins out. People don't even like Amazing Spider-Man 2, but I guess they like the beloved Paul Giamatti as the Rhino and all his super real-sounding Russian accent. And the thing about the Rhino is that we don't even get to see the actual final fight. We see the prep and lead up to it with Spider-Man rocking his sewer cover ready to do some damage. Where's that deleted scene? Spider-Man has a long-standing history of mentor figures becoming his greatest enemies. Bummer. That trend continued in the first Amazing Spider-Man, with Dr. Curt Connors becoming a big reptilian monster with an admittedly not as cool name, the Lizard. I don't know what this list is doing with Lizard so high, as he'd be a lower tier villain for me, but people I guess like his odd antagonist energy paired with his pretty tragic backstory.
I gave everyone the week off.
Spider-Man 3 will always be known as the one that had too many villains, but a fun addition was Flint Marko, aka the Sandman. While I wasn't the biggest fan of the retcon of having Flint be there the night Uncle Ben was shot and having him be basically responsible for it, I liked the Sandman's fight scenes and powers. The scene of him coming out of the reactor for the first time is super cool, and he has arguably the most iconic t-shirts from any villain. Yeah, that warrants number 7, I think. The Electro character in Amazing Spider-Man 2 is played with a lot of charisma and charm by Jamie Foxx.
It's a special day today.
But it does fall into that classic trope of an awkward nerd with glasses falls into something dangerous and becomes evil. I mean, at least he looks cool. And I definitely always chuckle how No Way Home just retcons things completely by letting him act like naturally cool guy Jamie Foxx instead of his awkward character shtick.
You picked the wrong side.
Maybe people like the arc of being Spider-Man's greatest fan to one of his biggest enemies? Maybe? The Venom films have been a huge hit for Sony, and the second film, Let There Be Carnage, introduced, well, you could probably guess, Carnage. Carnage is a fan-favorite villain from the comics, so it was great to see him in live action and played with a considerable twisted glee by Woody Harrelson. He's definitely a worthy adversary, and I liked the movie and the performance more than most, but I'm just shocked they made him a one-and-done villain. Carnage is the definition of a franchise big bad. He deserves something a little bigger in my opinion. Jake Gyllenhaal as Quentin Beck was awesome. Sure, I would have preferred a more comic-accurate Mysterio who could use stunt effects for his illusions and not just rely on computers and holograms, but I get that in this era it would be advanced tech fueling him. And I think it's cool how much Beck changed Peter's life. Plus, on a personal note, his costume is one of my favorite live-action villain adaptations, so I think I agree with this placement. Spider-Man 2 is perhaps the best Spider-Man film. It is certainly the best live-action Spider-Man movie, and a big part of that is because of Otto Octavius, aka Dr. Octopus. The movie not only makes him a tragic, sympathetic figure, but he's also a spectacular physical threat for Spidey. It's the perfect combination for the film. The comics have Otto be a bit more sniveling and narcissistic, but I like the interpretation done in both Spider-Man 2 and No Way Home.
Looks like we got competition.
That's how you bring a character to live action. Norman Osborn will always be the big bad in Peter Parker's life, which is something the movies have made abundantly clear given how many Green Goblins we've seen. But Willem Dafoe's original Norman Osborn is an all-time great villain. His specific performance and voice is straight up terrifying. I always found it funny how they ditched the mask for No Way Home because Dafoe has such a great goblin face. The only thing that surprises me is that Norman Osborn isn't number 1, because that's where I would have placed him. I mean, he kills Aunt May. What else could he do to jump up a spot? Okay, Venom is an interesting choice to top the list for live-action Spider-Man villains.
I killed one person.
Because people clearly aren't basing it off Spider-Man 3's version, unless I'm somehow missing the Spider-Man 3 Venom fanbase. That was just a poor interpretation of the character. Tom Hardy actually makes a great Eddie Brock and has a fun dynamic with his Venom symbiote, but he's not really a villain, right? He's barely an anti-hero. I don't know, if this was comic villains, Venom would definitely be at the top, but live-action Venom hasn't had a truly amazing film, has he? I don't think we'll ever get one of those, but I mean, I'll still show up for as many Venom movies that Tom Hardy wants to make, so that's something, I guess.
Parasite?
Yeah, it's a term of endearment, that's all.
What would your list look like? No way movie Carnage is that high, right? And wow, no love for Morbius? I'm shocked! Let me know your list in the comments below. Thanks for watching CBR. See you next time.